Hey guys, I'm Bree from Six Hearts on 6 Acres. Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome for the first time. I'm so glad to have you. I just showed you a huge harvest. I got all of that out of the garden this morning, and I want to show you the garden now, give you a tour of where all of that food comes from. I garden in my backyard. I have 6 acres, but I use a very small portion of it for my garden. This garden provides my family hundreds and hundreds of pounds of food throughout the spring, summer, and fall. I have kept up with garden tours now. I think I started them in either March or April. So go back and watch every single month and see how the garden has changed. It's pretty amazing, even just month from month, how much change there is. I'm ready to show you the garden though, so let's go. This first trellis that we just walked through is quite the stunner. The biggest plant on here is zucchini rampicante. They are these just massive. Can you see how big that is? Massive zucchini. You can eat them. This is still considered young at this stage, and they are like a tender zucchini replacement. The great thing is though, from here all the way down until you get to this big bulbous part, there are no seeds. These are awesome for shredding for zucchini bread. They do great being frozen. They're great fried zucchini. They're great baked. We eat this every single way, and if you leave it on the vine, it's going to turn a really pretty orange hue, and then at that point it tastes really similar to a butternut squash, and it has really good storage properties. I still have some of these fruits in my basement from my garden last year. That's how well that they store. Also, this plant is vine borer resistant if you have a problem with those bugs in your garden like I do. The front of this trellis has sweet dumpling squash on them. There are only 2 that I have found so far. I have this one right here and then one down towards the bottom. So I'm hoping it will be more productive and put on several more fruits, but if not, I'll take what I get and eat the 2 of them. On this other side of the trellis, still actually looks like zucchini rampicante because it has climbed all the way up and over. But what this side started out as is cucumbers. I have 1 plant left. The rest have been taken out by cucumber beetles. It's hanging on there, but it's not giving me any fruit at the moment. But I also have rattlesnake beans. These have been so productive and have given me tons and tons of food. I'm going to plant another succession of those for the fall, so they will just keep on going. Although not here because this trellis is full. If you turn around and look at my garden from this point, it looks vastly different than it did during the last garden tour. These beds, the 3 in the front, are empty. The corn has been taken down. The green bean tubs have nothing in them. All of that is because I have started preparing my garden for a fall planting. So these 3 metal tubs here had potatoes in them. We have harvested them all. Go back and watch those videos if you haven't seen so far. We got a huge amount of food. Currently this first bed is not planted yet. It's going to be happening sometime this week. Fingers crossed, that's my plan. This second bed I put in a whole planting of beets and they just sprouted. Let me show you. In the corner of the 3rd bed, you can kind of see it from here, I planted some pumpkins, but the rest of that bed is empty right now. I'm still debating in my mind what I want to do. My strawberries are putting off a ton of runners. I have thought about taking those runners and planting them in that bed, so then I'll have 2 beds of strawberries, which I will be very thankful for come spring. But I've also thought about putting another round of cucumbers in there. I am so undecided. But this first bed that is empty, I'm going to be putting in some soup beans. We will let those dry on the vine and then we can use them all winter long in our soups. And then the corn patch. So you were with me when we took all of that down. I went in last, gosh, it's probably been 2 days ago now, And I planted it with some butterbush squash. They are a smaller variety of butternut squash that grow into more of a bush habit than vining. They do still vine, just not quite as big. Those have not germinated yet, so there's nothing there to show you, but hopefully soon. I ran to the farm store this morning. It's getting bright out here. I ran to the farm store this morning and picked up a big bag of Blue Lake bush beans, and I'm gonna do a replanting of all of these buckets so I have them for the fall. I hope to get to that tonight, but if I don't, I'm gonna do it on Monday. Here beside the trellis are my paprika peppers. These things have gotten so tall. They are taller than I am, a lot of them at this point, and incredibly productive. I have been doing a big harvest of those every single day, and then at the end of the week I throw them on my smoker and then into my dehydrator, and I'm gathering them up into quart-sized bags so that I can make my own smoked paprika powder at the end of the season. I plan on doing that with a coffee grinder. I'm just going to pack all of the dehydrated peppers in there and run it through until it turns into a powder. I also have my sage plant down here, and it is just beautiful and bigger every single time I look at it. I have harvested this plant twice for dehydrating, and it just keeps putting on more and more, and it smells so good. These leaves are so pretty too. Following that bed, I replanted here 3 squash and zucchini. I don't remember what varieties I put in. I'll tell you when they start to produce. And then that is my tall trellis. These are purple potted pole beans, and they just keep giving and giving. Following this bed down, I have another zucchini rampicante plant. You can see some of the fruit here hanging in the trellis. I have some parsley and some oregano and some rosemary hiding in here. And then I have all of my jalapenos in this bed. My plants are just looking so beautiful, and they just keep blooming and blooming. I'm going to have a great harvest this year. These, I think, are scarlet runner beans, and you can see how beautiful the flowers are. The hummingbirds absolutely love this plant. It is not uncommon for me to see 4 or 5 of them out here in the flowers just constantly. But I will say that I have gotten very, very few, like maybe 3 beans off of it. It's not been productive as far as food in the garden at all. I do see now that I am getting a few beans. Let me show you. It is starting to put a few beans on. I don't know if it doesn't like my weather here or what. This is the first time I've grown it. Actually, now that I'm sitting here looking at it, I am finally starting to see beans being produced. Although it hasn't given me much food, it has really been great for the hummingbirds and the bees and the pollinators. So I will probably keep this in my garden, also because it's gorgeous. Look at those flowers. And look how cool the zucchini rampicante look inside the trellis here. Also inside the trellis, this has been another new bean plant that I tried that I won't put this one back in the garden. This was Lazy Housewife pole bean, and it has not produced a single bean for me. But although I am looking at it right now, and I just spied something up here. We harvested all of those last week because the vine borers got our squash plants, and that one is hiding up there. Let me see if I can get it. These are spaghetti squash. That was an unexpected harvest for today. This is the part of the trellis that we cleared out during our maintenance. And we went in with honeydew, and they have started sprouting here. So hopefully before too long they will be covering this empty part. Following that are our Chinese long beans. We have both green and red. More of these lazy housewife pole beans that have very, very few. These ones actually have a couple. But they've just been completely unproductive and kind of a waste of space. Another cucumber that hasn't died yet, but it's not doing anything. And then, like I said, we are in transition for fall here. So I cut out all of the kale that was right here. And I'm going to be putting a second planting of kale in this exact same space. But this time I'm going to go in with the dinosaur kale. Lots of Pippin's golden honey peppers. These are loaded. Dragon tongue beans here. I'm trying to let these go to seed. They're taking a long time though to get fattened up. There's a lot of beans on here though, so hopefully I'll be able to harvest a lot of seed and not have to rebuy for next year. In this open space here, I planted a row of Ashley cucumbers. I'm gonna thin those out and then trellis them up this opening in the trellis. We of course have our beautiful sunflowers. This is how tall I am, and then if I had to guess, I would say they're probably like 12 to 14 feet, but I haven't actually measured. More peppers in this bed. Banana peppers, Anaheim peppers, Jimmy Nardellos, and then here I have candy cane peppers. These have those variegated leaves and they're so pretty. And when the peppers are ripening, they are striped. Like, look how beautiful that is. And then once ripe, they go to red. And they're really sweet too. Like the perfect snacking pepper. My tomato rows are starting to look very, very much like a jungle. I'm getting tons of fruit off of them, but you can tell they are starting to get hit with some disease. I don't know if this is blight or verticulum wilt. It's kind of just scattered throughout. There's another right here. Overall, the tomatoes have been really healthy and really productive though. And they are tall. Way taller than I am. This is the back perimeter of the garden. And I put in a couple cucumber plants here. They are just starting. They have not been hit by the cucumber beetles yet, so fingers crossed they stay that way. I have some okra in this bed. That is the second succession of it as well as a couple sunflowers that just volunteered themselves. My cucamelons have really started to take off, and I'm starting to see little signs of flowering begin, so hopefully we will... Oh, actually, look. That's going to be my first cucamelon. I went in with some more squash and zucchini to fill in this opening. My dill has all went to seed, so I have been harvesting that for all of our pickled things. I left this cauliflower here because I wanted to harvest seeds from it, and it has been there for months and has not went to seed yet. Another bed in the back. These are... Here I have some watermelon that I sowed like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I have borage seeds amongst the weeds that are just volunteering all over the place from this huge borage plant here. And then I have several different types of peppers, but the coolest pepper in my garden this year, for sure, is this blot pepper. They're huge, they're sweet, and they're so beautiful. Over here we have our ground cherries. They have gotten huge and are dropping, oh, that one just fell off, are dropping tons of fruit daily. No wonder it fell off. Gross. I also have this bucket of giant Marconis. I have a mixture of gold and red in this bucket. 3 plants, and they are doing absolutely great. And then my asparagus bed. This is a jungle this time of the year. I let my asparagus grow berries because they drop these berries, and then I have asparagus seeds. These seeds plant themselves all over my garden, and I end up with just random asparagus everywhere. Behind that asparagus is my blackberry plant. I'm trying to grow this weaved through this cattle panel. Right now I only have 2 vines of it going, but this was from 1 plant, and I am starting to get a few berries. I only got like 5 this year, and the birds ate all of them, so hopefully next year is a better year for us. But then beside that, I have my raspberries. They're looking a little sad right now. I think I need to prune them, and obviously I need to weed around them. But I got several handfuls of raspberries this year, so I was really happy with those. I am embarrassed to even show you what's behind that. You remember that big bed that I had all of my brassicas in, and I told you probably a month ago that week I was going to get it cleaned out? Life happened, is busy around here, and I have not touched this bed. Well, that's not completely true. I come in here and I pull out a plant every couple days or so and feed it to the chickens, but it is a mess. Let me show you. So I have just a mixture of cabbage that never really did completely come to a head. They're still working on it. I don't know if they're going to actually taste good at this point. I let my lettuce go to seed, and then I'm going to be scattering the seed back in this. Let me see if I can show you. That is what lettuce seed looks like. I'm going to be scattering that in this bed, so I have a fall planting of lettuce. But that's what we're working with right now. It's a mess. It really needs cleaned up. I cannot even believe that it is already late July, almost August. This garden has already given me so much food, and it's just going to continue on. We are in a season of transition right now, getting ready for fall. So here again in the next few weeks, it's going to look vastly different again. I kind of love that transition from spring to summer and then summer to fall, because so much change happens so quickly. I will make sure to show you all of the change along the way and continue to show you all of the harvest that we're getting out of the garden, as well as how I preserve it to use all year long. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you again next time. Until then, may God bless.